In the brutal frontier of Wyoming in 1878, where money-shaped justice and skin color could sign a death warrant, Naomi Bennett stood alone in a courtroom that had already decided her fate. A midwife and healer, visibly 7 months pregnant, Naomi faced hanging for stealing medicine she had used to treat the sick children that the town's only doctor had callously ignored. Her so-called crime had saved lives, but in Whisper Hollow, that didn't matter. The heavy courthouse doors slammed open like a gunshot. Every head turned. The prosecutor stopped mid-sentence. The judge's gavel halted in midair. Down the aisle strode a figure whose name was enough to silence entire saloons. Caleb Cross, a gunslinger with a reputation soaked in blood and fear. 27 bodies lay behind his name, and none of those deaths had ever gone to trial. Some said the law feared him. Others believed he was the law where none dared tread. Naomi didn't flinch as his boots echoed across the floor. She stood upright at the defendant's table, chains on her wrists, the only black face in the courtroom aside from the janitor sweeping the halls. Her eyes met Caleb's. There was a pause, an understanding passed without words. "Your Honor," Caleb said, voice like sharpened iron, "this trial's a farce." Judge Harland looked stunned. "Mr. Cross, this court. That woman is my lawfully wedded wife." Gasps spread through the room like wildfire. Naomi showed no reaction. They had never married. But Caleb pulled a folded piece of paper from inside his coat. The gallery tensed, half expecting a gun. Instead, it was a marriage certificate signed in Denver, dated 2 years back. The judge eyed it suspiciously. "This is highly irregular." Caleb stepped to Naomi's side and leaned in close. "Play along, or we both hang," he whispered, just breath against her skin. She gave the faintest nod. "Court will recess until morning," the judge announced, "so the defendant's husband can prepare a defense." Naomi was led back to her cell. That night, she heard the iron door creak open. The sheriff stepped aside, and Caleb entered. "You shouldn't be here," she said. "Neither should you," he replied. "But I owed you. 3 years is a long time to remember a debt." Caleb unbuttoned his collar, revealing a scar that split his throat like a bolt of lightning. "Hard to forget the woman who saved your life when no one else would touch me." Naomi saw it clearly again: a cabin, the cold, the blood, her hands pulling a bullet from his chest when every doctor in Colorado had refused to help a dying outlaw. "You could have just sent a letter," she murmured. "You prefer hanging?" She didn't answer, hand resting instinctively on her belly. He noticed. "Tell me about the trial. They say 12 died from the fever. They blame me for stealing medicine that poisoned them. Claim I broke into the doctor's office and mixed deadly remedies. That doesn't sound like you. Truth doesn't matter when you're a black woman in court. It will this time." Naomi studied him. "Why do you care?" "Because Carlton Draper's been watching. That mine owner doesn't attend trials unless he's protecting something valuable." Naomi's face hardened. "Draper owns this town. The judge, the sheriff, even Dr. Langley follows his orders." The next morning, Caleb returned to the courthouse with 3 people in tow: a saloon girl, a crusty stableman, and a traveling merchant. One by one, they testified to the supposed marriage between Naomi and Caleb. Through carefully guided questions, Caleb painted a story. Naomi had treated him after a gunshot wound. They'd fallen in love, wed quietly in Denver, and he departed soon after on a bounty job. During a break, Naomi whispered, "Where'd you find these people? Everyone has secrets. I just gave them reasons to cooperate. You blackmailed them. I negotiated." That afternoon, Dr. Langley took the stand. With slick hands and a cold expression, he described how bottles of imported medicine had disappeared and how Naomi had been seen in his office unauthorized. She administered unapproved mixtures, he said smugly, which resulted in death. Caleb approached. "Doctor, how many patients did you treat during the outbreak?" 43, Langley replied. "How many of them died?" 17. "More than supposedly died under my wife's care. I treated the worst cases." "Did you treat anyone from the southern side of town?" Langley hesitated. "Those people have their own methods." "You mean black citizens?" "Objection. Withdrawn." Did you turn away anyone during the outbreak? I treated those who could pay. So people died after you refused them? Langley's eyes darted toward Carlton Draper seated in the back. I can't say. You mean you won't? That night, Caleb visited 3 houses. Each family told the same story. Naomi had brought medicine when the doctor refused. Some children recovered. Others didn't. But she had tried. Back at the jail, he told Naomi what he found. You treated everyone. Langley treated those who paid. The rest were left to die. Naomi nodded. You'll need more than the truth to convince a jury, Caleb said. That's all I've got. The next day, the prosecutor attacked their marriage story. You were seen in Montana that year, he sneered. Got married on the way north, Caleb replied. And this child? The prosecutor gestured to Naomi's belly. Mine, Caleb said without blinking. Born of separation, not infidelity. But the court wasn't convinced. Witnesses said they saw Naomi near the doctor's office. All had ties to Draper. Later that night, Caleb slipped into Langley's office. He found a locked ledger. Inside were patient records, names crossed out. No paidifused. Color deny treatment. Per Draper's orders. He also followed Draper's housekeeper to a shed where 3 mixed-race children played. Children the town believed dead. The deception was deeper than anyone imagined. The next morning, a new witness took the stand. Mary Alden. Tearful, she described her daughter Abigail's final days. Sarah's medicine gave her 3 extra days, Mary said. Langley wouldn't even come. The prosecutor objected, but cracks had formed. Back in the jail, Naomi finally told Caleb the whole truth. The baby, it's not yours. It's William Draper's. Carlton's brother. Caleb froze. We were married in secret. William died in that mine collapse. But he left papers with a lawyer in Denver. This child stands to inherit half the Draper fortune. Caleb understood now. That's why Carlton wants you dead before you give birth. A felon's child can't inherit. Naomi nodded. That evening, Carlton Draper himself visited the jail. Confess, he said, and I'll commute the sentence. Otherwise, accidents happen, even to children. Naomi paled. After he left, Caleb made a vow. I'm ending this. He snuck into Draper's mansion and confronted him. You targeted her because she saved children you wanted dead, Caleb said, gun in hand. You can't prove that, Draper replied. I have the ledger. And those children you tried to erase. You kill me, you both die. Then confess. Drop the charges. Acknowledge your brother's child. Draper laughed. This town belongs to me. Not every man, Caleb said, leaving without another word. Court resumed the next day under thunderclouds. Naomi stood alone. Where's Mr. Cross? The judge asked. I don't know. She chose to defend herself. I took medicine, yes. To help the sick when the doctor refused. I didn't do it for glory or gain. I did it because every child deserves chance. When the jury exited to deliberate, the courtroom doors burst open. Caleb returned, rain-soaked, dragging Dr. Langley with him. I lied, the doctor confessed. Draper made me. Gasps echoed. He handed the judge the ledger. Names of patients denied care. Naomi saved more lives than I ever did. The jury quickly returned. Not guilty on all charges. Naomi wept, one hand on her belly. Caleb touched her elbow. But the moment ended fast. Arrest that man. Draper shouted. He coerced a witness. The sheriff obeyed. Caleb was shackled and led away. That night, Naomi gathered with townsfolk at Martha Alden's home. Black and white families came together. People she'd helped. People who owed her nothing, but came anyway. She told them everything about William Draper, the child, the inheritance. Dawn broke. Caleb was led to the gallows. Draper watched from horseback. Any last words? He asked. Caleb stared past him. Waiting. For what? Justice. From every street, townsfolk emerged. Hundreds of them. Naomi at the front. Draper panicked. Clear them out. But no deputy raised a hand. Naomi stepped forward. This man, she pointed, tried to erase me, to kill this child for wealth. Lies. I was William Draper's wife. This child is his heir. I have the papers. And proof. Draper pulled his pistol. Caleb's hands were free now. The sheriff stood by him, gun raised. Draper fired, but it wasn't Caleb who fell. Sheriff's bullet struck Draper dead. 6 weeks later, Naomi held her newborn son. Caleb stood nearby, packed to leave. "He's got William's eyes," she said softly, "and your stubborn chin. Where will you go?" she asked. "Where I'm needed." She looked at him. "Stay. Not as my husband, but as his guardian. Teach him what his father stood for." "I'm not the teaching type." "Then show him." Caleb hesitated, then reached out, touched the child's cheek with a gentleness he didn't know he had. Outside, Wyoming bloomed green again. Inside, 3 lives began anew, not quite a family, but no longer alone.